Of Casey Anthony wanting to have her freedom. And she hit on that again. Who had the motive essentially at the end? Was it the grandparents who had built in the backyard this beautiful little playhouse for her? Or was it Casey Anthony, who we've seen the pictures of her out partying, getting the tattoo? And yet the contradiction that we see, Jana, which is that no one ever said that this was a mother who didn't love her child.
Exactly. And Linda Drain-Burdick also brought that up. She said, where'd you get that information from? You got it from people who aren't mothers. You got it from her friends who have their own lives. And I thought it was actually good on Linda's part, where she sort of juxtaposed a lot of that. And if you can't, her theme was that Casey Anthony is the biggest liar that has ever walked the face of the planet. So you can't even believe that she was a good mother because she was such a huge liar. She lied to all her friends, and those are the only people who could vouch for her being a good mom. She wove that theme throughout her whole closing argument.
Meg Strickler, we were critical of the rebuttal up until this point. Did Linda Drain-Burdick bring it all together?
Wow, she impressed me big time. Now, both those prosecutors have done a good job throughout the trial. Ashton has been amazing. He wasn't that good this morning, but Linda Drain-Burdick brought it home. I mean, I'm now worried about a first-degree verdict here, because this is the last thing the jury listens to before they go and deliberate, and they get to hear Casey again saying the F-bomb repeatedly to her mom and being completely disrespectful. That is emotion, and it shows what Casey really is. In the jury's mind, perhaps, I don't know. I hope they can balance everything and listen to everything. But boy, Linda Drain-Burdick did a fabulous, fabulous job. I would have wished if she would just, when she did that call, said a few more things and then ended it there. I think it would have had even more impact. You always want to end on a high note and know when to fold them. And she kind of went a little bit longer after that, but that's a tiny, minor little thing to say. All in all, amazing job. Bravo to Linda.
When we left our coverage yesterday, the lawyers were going to go in and have a final conference with the judge about exactly what was going to be said in the charge. Susan Filan, how important is the charge and what the judge has to say? How seriously do the jurors look at this and take it to heart?
The charge is extremely, extremely important. It's like getting in a car and thinking you know how to drive it, and then having the instruction manual that tells you all the things that you don't know. It's very, very important, and the jurors are going to listen to it. And this judge is letting them take the instructions with them into the jury room, 12 different sets. Each person is going to have their own rules of the road. You take those rules of the road and you apply it to the car as you're going to drive it, and that's how they are going to deliberate, because they've gotten everything they need from the lawyers at this point. They've gotten a rehash of the evidence. They've gotten their each theories on what the evidence means, but now they need the instructions as to the law about how to take what they've heard in this courtroom and deliberate and reach their verdict. And I think that it's more likely now than I thought before for a first-degree murder conviction, because after listening to Linda Drain-Burdick and you stand back and you look at it all, what else could it be? So even with the holes in the case, no cause of death, it seems that you can infer now from all the circumstantial evidence what that cause of death was and who caused that death. And when you got those two pieces, it's first-degree murder. As Jeff Ashton says, no matter how you slice it.
All right, let's talk a little bit more when we come back about exactly what the charges are, what the possibilities are, what we're likely to hear from the judge. But he's in what he said is about a 10-minute recess, and then we're going to come back and hear the charge from him, something that was the subject of a number of conferences with lawyers trying to decide the exact wording of what he would tell the jury about what has to be proved in order to come to a guilty verdict on these counts. Take a quick break. Be back with more of our coverage of the Casey Anthony murder trial after this.